Welcome to the Real Estate Masters Podcast, where we interview the top names in the real estate game. If you want to grow your real estate business, see more podcasts, or get free resources, go to www.remcommunity.com. The only podcast that allows you to directly connect with the guests and many of the highest level names in the real estate game.
You are in for a treat with our next guest. Do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and don't forget to go to remcommunity.com to connect with some of the highest level real estate professionals in the United States through our community and through our high level masterminds. Let's go.
Hey guys, Tony Javier here. We're here with Dean Rogers, former NFL San Diego Charger turned real estate investor. Today we're going to talk about how he went from his NFL career to flipping houses. And now he's on TV. He's flipping in a couple different markets, does some wholesaling, does some flipping, and does some really cool stuff with his meetup groups and all that good stuff. So Dean, what's going on, bud?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on.
For sure.
So this is our first video podcast. If you guys are watching on YouTube, this will be one of many video podcasts we'll do. Dean and I both live in San Diego, so we thought we'd get together and talk. Good friends, been knowing each other for a while and both doing some cool stuff. So we thought we'd have Dean on and share his story and what he's doing with TV now.
Cool. And hey, we're in here. It's like pretty calm and chill. We're not battling it out on the pickleball court right now.
Which isn't very good for Dean. It's pretty cool being able.
It was pretty great last time.
It's pretty cool being able to beat a former NFL player at a sport, you know?
Well, you know what? It's
you're speechless. I
don't know what to say, but you know what? I'm getting better. I don't have quite the practice that you do. You play it maybe even a couple times a day. You might even have it like virtually set up in your house where you've got the Oculus and you're just playing it and staying out of the kitchen and stuff.
Well, you know, visualization's a big thing, right? So like even when I'm not playing, like I visualize
how probably have dreams about
how bad I'm beating you.
I thought about this the other day. There's no way you don't have dreams about it with how much you're thinking about it.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever had a pickleball dream. Tell you the truth.
Tell
you the truth. But anyhow, let's talk real estate.
Okay, sure.
So tell your story, Dean. You know, we're in San Diego. We were just talking about this earlier with someone, and I think you found San Diego because you got drafted out of the NFL and played football for a couple of years. So tell us about that and how you transitioned into real estate.
Yeah. So there's lots of stories of the NFL. We could do a whole nother podcast on that, but NFL was amazing, dude. You know, you spend your whole life, for me, up to that point, dreaming of that moment, you know, and working towards that goal. Literally everything in my life. Life is pretty simple. You realize once you're an adult how simple life was. Life was going to school, playing sports, and eating food, playing with your friends. Like that's all it was, you know. So very little responsibility, and my passion has always been sports. It still is one of my biggest passions. And so I just love the competitiveness of it. And naturally, you like things that you're good at. And God gave me different gifts physically. So I was good at sports growing up, and had always had a different favorite sport growing up. Basketball, when I was playing basketball, it was my favorite sport. Football was my favorite sport. And so I realized in high school, about midway through high school, all right, football's probably my it sport. You know, I was starting to get letters in the mail from scouts, and went to some camps and stuff like that. So I realized, all right, well, senior year, I'm going to cut out on basketball because Coach, what's that movie? Coach Hard, what was it? Do you remember the movie?
What movie?
It's the movie where they're playing basketball and the coach is like super hardcore, always conditioning. Coach Carter. There you go. Yeah. Coach Carter came out, and my junior year of basketball season, I lost 5 or 10 pounds because he was just conditioning the hell out of us. And so I was like, all right, football is my sport. So I got big, went into college, played tight end, played running back in high school. And I wanted, have the ball in my hands as much as possible and score a bunch. And then college came, flash forward through that. Senior year, junior year, had scouts coming out. I knew, all right, this thing is starting to come together. feels like it could be real, but it's still, unless I was, highly recruited or a Heisman Trophy front runner at, Alabama, like you're still kind of on the fringe of knowing whether you're going to make it or not, but had scouts coming and watching me. And then, senior year comes and goes, and it was the year of the lockout when I went into the NFL. So it went from all of the, pre-draft stuff with the combine and the scouts and doing those different camps and stuff like that to all of a sudden zero communication. So again, I can share all these stories later, but coming out right on the other side of the lockout lifting, got a call right away from the Chargers, pack your bags. And, it was just like a wild ride from there. It was just, a whole different life that you dreamt of. You saw TV shows about this kind of other reality that some people live in. And that's pretty much what I lived. It was pretty nuts. Just like everything you went to was like a red carpet event type of thing. People following you around at the streets and following you to your car. It's not like I was Phillip Rivers on the team. I was just an average dude that just joined the team, and you still have this stuff happening. Women like waiting outside of places or just coming right in and like walking up to people, like just crazy stuff like that.
I still have that in my life. You don't have to be an NFL player for that to happen.
You're on the pickleball court. They see you sweating and just spiking the ball. They're like, man, that guy's got it.
That dude's good.
They're just waiting for you when you come off the court.
What can you do, when you're that good?
You can't help it. So, lots of stories like that. And to kind of like sum up my whole NFL experience, the best thing for me personally, from like a fulfillment standpoint, was I knew I could play at that level. And that was like a big thing for me, because when I first got there, day one, I was kind of nervous that I wasn't going to be able to play, because I remember showing up, and I went to a small D1 AA school in college. And so getting there, every skill player was my size, which is more or less what I was kind of used to. But the linemen were just so gargantuan that you thought you were playing amongst giants, and you thought that you were just going to get destroyed. So day one of like, landing on the plane, getting here, getting to meet the guys, I had that feeling of like nervousness. But day two, woke up and I was like, let's freaking do this, And I remember the very first play, I lit up Bob Sanders, Pro Bowler Bob Sanders, and Norv Turner threw his clipboard in the air. He's like, "That's right, Rodgers." Like, I was like, "Fuck yeah, I made it, dude. This is sick." So that's what it was. It was just 100 miles an hour from there. And so I came out of that experience just like feeling fulfilled. I didn't have the career I thought I was going to have, because, again, Norv Turner was telling me, "Hey, you're going to have a long career," and not just once, but several times. And so I'm like, okay, this is cool. But from the neck down, I felt amazing, like better than I ever had, because of the nutrition and the treatment and all that kind of stuff. But from the neck up, I was quickly feeling it more than ever, just from the pounding, that I was going to be a vegetable, and my brain was going to be suffering if I was just doing this, playing against the best of the best and the biggest and strongest in the world, if you want to call it that. And so I just knew that if I kept going down this route, that I was probably going to have a shorter life. So I made the decision to hang up the cleats from there, which was extremely difficult and tough. Arguably one of the toughest decisions I made in my life, because had I kept going, what would life look like? Would it be different, worse? Don't know. But flash forward, coming out of that, and kind of how I got into real estate, like you were asking, got started in the corporate world right away. Like, I didn't wait around for a year or 2 years trying to find myself, or, hoping for opportunity. Opportunity just kind of landed in front of me, and was blessed because of that. A buddy of mine from college, who I played football with, he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, Dean, I know you're done playing. I've got an awesome opportunity you should check out. I'm working for this tech company up in the Bay Area." So I was like, "Tell me more about it." Sounded like right up my alley, something that I would do well at and enjoy. He basically walked me in the door, got me an interview, and immediately joined them. And that really helped kind of propel me forward, just get started working right away at a great job. But after a year of working my ass off and feeling like I added a ton of value, they're like, pat on the back, here's $1,000 more raise in your salary or whatever it was. I was like, NFL lifestyle, new corporate lifestyle. I'm not going to quite get to that same kind of feeling of freedom and really choice. Like when you're at this different level, you've got a salary of $1.25 million to now $65,000. It's a little bit different lifestyle.
Totally.
So for me, I was like, okay, there needs to be something else. And I'm almost convinced it was the Dean Graziosi late night shows that I almost bought his course when I was, 12 years old or whatever, that was still in my mind of real estate.
So did you buy his course?
I didn't, never did.
Because I started with No Down Payment System by Carlton Sheets, his late night course.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I can't remember when I bought it, but I think it was late night. I think I was up late night just watching this commercial and this.
What age do you think you were?
Oh, I know I was 20 or I think I just turned 20 or 21. I can't remember.
Okay.
2001, whatever that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because Carlton Sheets was the first person I ever remember having the testimonials on their marketing, because that sells, right?
Sure does.
If you have someone that says,
and
"Hey,
they feel authentic
I made a certain amount of money in this time frame, and this is how I did it with this guy," you're going to potentially buy from that guy. So that's what I saw. I saw, I own 100 properties now and $10,000 a month positive cash flow. And it was those numbers and all of those testimonials that I'm like,
feel a certain way.
I can do that. I know I can.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So I remember just being a teenager, like seeing that stuff. And now fresh out of college, played in the NFL. Now I'm here figuring out like, what is it that I like? Because this isn't going to get me to where I want to get. And it was pretty much the first thing that came to mind. Again, I feel fortunate that I came across this mentally and then searching it. But sure enough, went to Google, typed in how to get started in real estate, or it might have been real estate investing or something like that, and just came across Sean Terry Flip to Freedom podcast. And it was just a free podcast. It was just audio. And I just listened to it obsessively. And from 90 days, 3 months from the very first day I listened to it to 90 days from there, I closed my first deal. And it was, there's a story in that where basically got a property. I was following exactly what Sean Terry was saying to do. And then I couldn't find a buyer. So I contacted his acquisitions guy. I submitted the property on his website. His acquisitions guy called me. He was like, "Oh yeah, Sean could probably find a buyer." Put me in contact with Sean, got on the phone with me. He's like, "Oh yeah, we'll get that sold." Sold it for a $12,000 profit. We split it. I made $6,000 and I was like, all right, I can repeat this. Like, I know this works. So,
so that's a big thing though, right? Is most people, they get courses, they listen to podcasts or, that kind of thing, but they don't do anything with it. Right.
That's the problem.
So that's like the biggest thing that I see with people is that they're like, I want to do this, but I don't have enough money, or I want to do this because there's always an excuse of why they don't start, right? So had you not gotten that taste of that $6,000, you wouldn't have been like, okay, this is real.
Wouldn't have been a believer.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things for me, and I've continued to do it, and why I feel like I've found success, is just the persistence, and so many people, they give up when they hit a roadblock, or feel like they've been spending too much time, but just continuing to push through. So, yeah, man, that's how I got started in real estate.
Cool, man. Well, let's talk about TV. I love TV. If you guys have followed me or know me much. So I get real estate investors on TV throughout the country, and I just love hearing the results. I get texts, and I see in my Facebook group all the time, people, man, I made $100K this month, or $100K on this deal from TV and all that kind of stuff. And Dean's been with me on TV for about a year now. About a year now.
Yeah.
So, the thing that I love about business is doing things different than other people, right? Mm-hmm. There's obviously copying and pasting what other people do, can do very well, but then also finding something that other people don't do is big, which TV does.
Yeah.
But same thing with TV. Like when you and I talked about TV, it took you a little while. You know, we had a few conversations about it, and you're like,
You twist my arm a little bit.
yeah. I didn't really twist your arm. I was just like, dude, you keep asking me like, what is the thing that can get me over like to the next thing? And I just like, dude, TV. That's all. I mean, I'd just be like, dude, TV. Let's try TV. You know.
Yeah.
And then finally you jumped on board. So I want to talk about your last year on TV. So tell us what it's done for you. I guess just from a global perspective, and we'll kind of jump into some numbers.
Yeah. So I got all the numbers written down. So when it's number time, I'll rapid fire those. But TV has been awesome. For me, it's done a couple really big things, you know, and just to go back to what you were saying, because I think for those that are, you know, potentially listening and wondering if it's right for them or does it make sense for whatever reason, you know, the biggest thing with me, one of the barriers to entry was, you know, how much effort and time is it going to take for me to get set up? That was probably the biggest barrier for me, because I felt like I'm just so busy in the day to day, got so much going on in life. From a business standpoint, plus just life with kids is really busy. So do I really have enough time to figure out how to get started in TV? I didn't really fully, truly understand the full program yet. Hadn't asked you enough questions. So that was the first part. And then it's like, how expensive is it going to be? Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to work? Am I going to spend a ton of money and it's just not going to pan out? So those were the two big obstacles for me and hurdles to overcome. And once I had that one more conversation with you, you really laid it out that it's a done for you program. That was hands down the biggest thing. That was like, okay, I'll do it. Because I had gone through some other programs, I won't mention them, but gone through some other programs that showed you a blueprint, but didn't really do it all the way for you. And that was the sticking point for me, because with the TV, probably the biggest unknown very specifically is putting together your budget and working with the channels and understanding what time of the day and how much to spend. And that's already all figured out.
And that's the big barrier of entry, right? That's
Huge.
why a lot of people don't do TV, is because they think it's too expensive. It's going to be too much time to set up. I don't want to be on TV, or I don't think I'll look good on TV. And there's been so many people I've talked to, they're like, I don't think I'd be good on TV. And then we shoot the commercial with them and they're like, actually it looks pretty good. We can do some good editing, you know?
Yeah.
So overcoming those obstacles sound like a big thing to you. And then just how much time did it take you on your side of it for us to get TV set up for you?
That was the most exciting part for me, is because you had the script already. That's another, again, I get sometimes caught up in the details and get in my own way. Even though I know it's better if I just do it, right? So in this case, it was, all right, you got all the ads figured out, the time it's going to be scheduled, the price that it's going to be, not only the price it's going to be, but negotiated for you. That was another huge part. But then the script itself, like, okay, I know what I do. I can give someone an elevator pitch, but what is the perfect script to have in a commercial? What to say, how to say it. You already had like that completely mapped out. You've been doing it for over a decade. So me just picking, I want that commercial. I'm going to say exactly that. I'm going to write it out and then practice saying it at home. And then I literally called a buddy here in San Diego and was like, hey, I'm shooting this commercial. Could I use your studio? You know? Shout out to my buddy Chris Carter, who has Forged 4x4. He has a company that you'll see some of those ads where it's like, you know, enter a chance to win this souped up Jeep that has, you know, $100,000 of upgrades into it. They do an amazing job. So he has a studio right there in his workshop. So I just showed up and he threw it up there on a teleprompter. I wasn't good at a teleprompter. He's like, you look like you know what you're saying. So I just had it memorized by heart. Just did a couple takes. That was it. Took the raw video, sent it to your dude's team, and they did all the editing, everything. Again, another piece of the puzzle figured out for us already. Not only the script, everything was handled, including the editing, which is another big piece. So it was just super easy.
Awesome. So again, we'll get into the numbers in a minute. What has it done for you for your credibility in your market? Because you do like meetup groups, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, hopefully.
So, I mean, the timing couldn't have been better because with everything that's been going on in the past couple of years, more people are focused to media, right? Whether it's online or TV or whatever it is. So trying to get eyeballs on you and your company and figuring out how to stand out amongst other people was something that I realized and recognized we needed to do. And so having been doing investing for years and really focusing on branding, brand, we've been doing a pretty good job. People know us, they know what we're doing and kind of the results that we're having. But as soon as we did TV, the credibility was nuts. Like just constantly from other local investors sending me text messages of a picture of them watching the commercial saying, hey, great job, or, oh, I'd love to sell this house to this guy right here, or the opposite, I'll never sell my house to this guy, something like that. Just the credibility is hands down. Just getting calls, out of the blue. Hey, dude, saw your commercial. Great job. You guys are killing it. So instant celebrity status from a local real estate industry standpoint. And then I got a couple good stories I'll share with you from like the general public. So first good story is my mother-in-law calls me out of the blue. I tell you this story yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few times.
Okay. Yeah, probably a few times, right? So she calls me out of the blue and she's like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you the story. She called me like off the hook that day. And I hadn't got back to her. So she calls me and then she's like, I have to tell you the story. She's like, I was at work, and she works at a hospital. And she's like, I was at work in the break room, right? Like in the kitchen. And I heard your commercial come on. And so, she had already heard it and seen it. She didn't think of anything of it. And she heard this group of girls, these nurses behind her go, oh, I'd sell my house to him. And my mother-in-law, turns around. She's like, that's my son-in-law, you beep. And they're like, yeah, right. And so she pulls out her phone and shows a picture of her with me. And they're like, oh, well, I'd still sell my house to him anyways. And I was like, nice. She's like, yeah, but you better not be doing anything now that you're a celebrity. I was like, no, I'm good. So that was one good story. Now, another good story that's even better from a credibility standpoint is one of my buddies sent me this picture, and it was me on the TV. So I was like, oh, okay, just another guy sending me a picture of me on the TV. He calls me after maybe 30 minutes, an hour had passed, and he's like, you'll never believe what happened. He's like, that appointment's not going to go well when you're walking a property with the seller and your commercial comes on. So my buddy was walking this house with a seller, trying to get it under contract. They're walking through the living room and my commercial comes on. They both stop and watch it uncomfortably. And then she goes, do you have a commercial? He's like, nah.
Who got the deal?
So the funny part about that, to build on it, is I already had it under contract. So what was the seller doing? Mm-hmm. Still showing this house. Well, again, to unfold it a little more, good local friend who we have trust and, good relationship with, another investor, was friends of the seller. So they were friends of the seller and they connected our mutual friend with the seller. Hey, Mike, why don't you, go on the appointment, get it under contract, we'll work the deal out, essentially. Like they're probably going to partner on it, but Mike, our mutual friend, would be the face, kind of remove conflict of interest. So he goes on the appointment. We find out, I immediately say, no, we got that under contract. You said it's on what address? Oh, we already got that. So we call the seller and I don't think they picked up or anything. So then we called the mutual friend who had introduced and said, hey, this is the deal. We have it under contract. They said, don't worry, we got you covered. So they called the seller. They straightened them out and said, hey, you already got a contract under contract with these guys. don't mess around with it, just close on it. So they help kind of back us up and support it. Again, because of that credibility and the relationship that we've built with them, it just helped get that deal done.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of cool things about being on TV. So when I first started TV, honestly, I didn't know what to expect. And so I was thinking, man, it'd be cool to be on TV just to show people what I do, and then the relationships I have, hopefully they'll kind of send me deals. And really for me, I thought it was kind of more of a branding play. But then the first month I made like 35 grand right off the bat. And we're seeing that from pretty much almost every single client we launch.
That was our exact first deal, 35 grand.
Yeah, almost immediately, like the results are popping in. So it's been 12 months now. You just closed 2 big deals, $50,000 deal and a $40,000 deal, just last week?
On Friday.
Last week. So 90 grand in 1 week from TV. So let's get into results.
All right, let's do it. So I got it all right here. And again, just to put an asterisk next to the number of leads we've got, we definitely have some that have gone through our website that if they didn't turn into a deal and we ended up making sure to find out where they came from, they easily could have turned into a website lead that went dead or warm or whatever, right? To be determined. So that being considered, the number of lifetime leads that we've had is 294 leads. Okay. So I actually didn't do the math on this, but 294 divided by 12.
Yeah, 20-some.
About 24 leads a month, which is great. I mean, if you can say I'm going to get 24 leads a month.
And good quality leads, right?
And great quality leads.
Because the quality of leads is better than pretty much any form of advertising that I've seen, right?
Because cold calling, one of our best, highest performing ROI, but they're kind of far and few between deals for us. We want consistent deal flow. And with cold calling, I got to do, 60 or 70 leads before I get a deal. In this case, 294 leads over 12 months. That's how long we've been doing it. We've had 24 under contract, so two deals a month. 19 of them are closed deals, and some of those fell out of contract. I've got some stories, some good juicy stories on a couple of them, and then some others, deals fall out of contract. We've got $351,000 in closed profit. It's hit the books.
Close to 30 grand a month.
Yep. $75,000 of pending profit. We have one in escrow to sell right now. That's one that we flipped. This one we were thinking about keeping as an Airbnb. Yep. Neighbors were a little messy, so our buddy, who's a great Airbnb host, co-host in the area, was like, maybe you should flip it. Are the numbers good on that? Well, we looked at the comps, juicy comps. We're like, heck yeah, we'll sell it. So that one's going to be, it's already know all the rehab numbers, selling costs, everything. It's a $75,000 profit deal. So that's $426,000 total. Okay. In that 12 months. There's 2 other flips that we have in inventory. One we just got access to today, and another one we're getting access to in 2 weeks with a sheriff lockout. There's a juicy scammer story on that one. That's a juicy story for another time, but we're getting access to that one. So between those 2 properties and appreciation since the time we've owned them, those are going to be anywhere combined to about 125 to 150,000 in profit.
Wow.
So you put that all together, we're easily 551 to 576,000 in total profit for the year. So over $500,000.
Nice.
And we've spent 101 in ad spend, which is about $8,300 per month.
Yeah. So that's a little over 5 times return on investment, right?
And that's us in 2 markets, 2 TV markets.
Right. So when you compare that to other things, obviously the ROI may be a little bit lower than texting or cold calling, right? Because you're probably getting maybe a 10x, 8 to 10x?
It's like 11 or 12 for cold calling when I last looked. But again,
the effort is 20 times more because you're managing cold
callers. It's a
callers.
fifth of the total profit, right? My ad spend for cold calling was like 10 grand, 11 or 12 grand for the year. Made, again, I have to go back and look, but $100,000.
So it's not as scalable.
Not as scalable.
Right.
That's a huge part to emphasize. Not as scalable for us. because the addressable market's only so big. I can promise you I've pulled about every prospective lead in our area, skip trace them, cold called them, text them. How many times can you do that? You can do it a bunch of times, but
They're going to get annoyed.
they're going to get annoyed. You're talking to 3-4 times the amount of people to try to get a deal. These people are coming straight to us, and they're much higher quality leads.
Yeah, and you don't have to build the rapport with them. I mean,
Right.
you want to build a little more rapport with them, but they already
Right.
feel like they know you because they've
Feel
seen
like
you
they
on
know
TV.
you. You're already the authority in that conversation. You're not calling them hoping they want to sell and just hoping you caught them at the right time. They're calling you, and you're the authority that was on TV, that's the professional. So they're looking to you to help solve their problem much more than most other marketing forms.
Right, right. And really, there's no other competition in your market, right?
There is none. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's not true. There is another player in our market who, has been doing it for years actually before us. So they had actually stopped for a year or two, but probably because they saw me on TV, they came back on.
Does your last name begin with an O?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who they are.
Yeah. Cool. So, what does it look like going forward? Are you pretty much just going to continue the same ad spend? Do you plan on increasing it? Do you plan on potentially opening up other markets? Because we do have other clients that are, they do well in one market and they're like, man, I could plug this into another. Because you're doing virtual anyway.
Yeah.
You're in San Diego and you're doing some stuff in Northern California.
Yeah.
So do you plan on potentially putting in other markets, or you just want to?
Potentially. Yeah, it's in the cards. It's not out of the question. It's just something we got to kind of feel out and see if there's something that's a similar type of market that we feel we'd be effective in. Because I think, again, one of the points that can be made is with TV, you set it up and you're instantly on. You're not having to put quite as much effort into other different campaigns and getting them all set up.
That's the other thing, is how much have you had to manage your TV commercials?
That's probably one of the most exciting things for me, as I've tried to scale myself out of the business and quit doing all the little detail stuff. Is 12 months ago, I shot the commercial and I haven't done a single thing but pay the ad company agency a check every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it.
Haven't changed a single thing. Haven't changed the commercial. Haven't gone and tweaked anything. Done absolutely nothing.
It's beautiful. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anything else you want to talk about TV, and we'll wrap up with a few other things.
Yeah. I just say, if someone's questioning TV, like I was, I had some good valid points, to kind of combat whether I wanted to do it or not. I'm just thankful that I did it, and so many different reasons. Not only the money that we've made, obvious, that's probably the main reason someone would want to do it, is make money, but just from a credibility standpoint,
The intangibles it's hard to put a price
intangible.
on. Right?
It's hard to put a price on it, but without doubt that it helps solidify you. On our postcards, when we send those out to sellers, on our website, and then on the TV, obviously itself, we're advertising that we're on TV, and it just helps us be more professional and be the authority in our market. So I think even if you're established or just getting started, it's a great way for you to get instant quality leads and take advantage of something that not everybody can do or is even doing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing those numbers and your results from TV. So if you guys want to learn more about TV in your market, go to realestatemasters.tv.com. Again, realestatemasters.tv.com, and see if your market's available, and we'll see if we can get you on. So one thing I want to wrap up with, one thing you're doing cool is the meetup. So, TV has helped that. One of the things that I've seen from working with a lot of clients throughout the country is there's a really good way for you to get not only credibility, but also free leads, if you will, by holding meetups and really just doing things educational wise for the community. So talk to us about what you're doing with your meetups and what that's done for you, and the business that it's brought in from that.
Yeah. So, just over the past couple years, I think my mindset's shifted a lot. in the business. You know, when I was first getting started, I wanted to conquer the world and wanted to do it by myself. And it was, you know, everyone else was a competitor and I want to win and do more deals and then make more money, you know. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just not a sustainable thing.
And it's not as fun by yourself.
It's not as
right?
fun. That's a really good way to put it. And I think it's whether you want to call it unhealthy or not, I don't think it necessarily is, because again, I think having that motivation and determination is good. But I will say without question, as I've shifted my mindset to more, you know what? We've got a great community here. Speaking of, you know, my market, we've got a great community. We've got great people. I'm going to reach out to them more. I'm going to have more conversations with them, be more open to sharing about what we're doing, what's working. And as I've really unpacked that over the years, at this point, I'm really an open book. You know, I'll tell you everything that we're doing, what's working, what's not. And it hasn't done anything to harm us. We're doing better than we ever have before, you know? And I really believe that by us being more willing to share and open to help people, that's come back tenfold. So what have we been doing? So specifically, there's a couple of things we've been doing. We started a meetup because I'm convinced that the more hands we shake, the more people that we're willing to help, that God's got a way of making that kind of come back to us. And that doesn't necessarily all mean just from a dollar standpoint, right? A fulfillment standpoint of like, all right, we're making a difference. We're having more fun as a result of knowing more people and getting involved with more people. So because doing it virtually, and I'm sure you've felt this at times, I'm in my home office, you know, pounding away, working away, and it's pretty lonely there.
Mm-hmm.
I do talk to people all day long, but I'm not receiving their energy in a face-to-face interaction. You know, the real energy I'm receiving is just from my family, which is great and all, but it's nice to receive some different energy sometimes. So the meetup was really a means to me getting out there more in the community and connecting with more people and trying to find more ways for us to work together, you know? And so we had an amazing turnout. The very first meetup we did, which was February 2020, I think we had 75, 80 people there at the very first meetup. And that was, you know, a month's notice before that. So that felt pretty good, you know, and there was a lot of great people there, a lot of great networking. And from there was really kind of a snowball effect of us making it known that not only are we doing a lot of deals, which people were witnessing, but we're willing and able to help other people do more deals. And the more I started to like publicize that on social media, the more that people just kept reaching out to us and saying like, hey, I got this lead, you know, what are your thoughts? And so what it's evolved into is, I call it the Friends with Benefits program. I was trying to think of something clever and cheeky. So Friends with Benefits, and essentially what it is you can bring us a deal you already have under contract, okay? Or you can bring us a lead, just a qualified lead. This person wants to sell. Great, send it our way. We'll even do all of the work beyond that. We'll contact the seller, follow up with them, go on an appointment, take pictures, negotiate, get it under contract. We'll find the buyer, we'll handle escrow. We'll do all of that, and we'll split the deal 50-50 with you.
Wow.
So for most people that are like, I stumbled on this lead, help me out. We closed $120,000, it was like 122 and change, $122,000 net profit deal in 2020 from a lead just like that. Hey, I got this lead. This person's motivated. They got a serious problem. Squatters in the house with guns and drugs. They want to sell. This is their price. That's their price? You sure? Okay, sure. We'll get it under contract. Got it under contract. We actually bought it, closed on it because it was that good of a deal. We didn't want to have it fall apart in escrow. Closed on it, turned around, sold it, immediately got it in escrow, closed on it. And that's just a living example of this person, these people who had it under contract. Could they have made money? Sure. Would they have made $60 some odd thousand? No, they probably wouldn't have got it under contract at the same price. They probably would have undersold it to a buyer. That deal might have fallen apart. we gave them security and confidence it was going to close and they were going to make that much money, and probably more than they would have made.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people starting out, and even equally for people that are experienced, been doing it, but just don't have, the buyers to sell these properties that we do, and the relationships we have, the expectations we've set, we're able to sell these properties very consistently for top dollar and have a really smooth process. And we've really got that dialed in. So we've been helping a lot of people. Almost daily at this point, do I get leads coming in from, the Friends with Benefits program. And it's amazing. It's so much fun, because just the $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 profit that I'm sending them, their half of the deal in just this past year, has been so fun, because that's real money. That's real impact on a lot of people. And it's impacting us as well in a positive way. Again, we did over $1 million in revenue from that Friends with Benefits program. And I'm convinced that it's going to continue growing more. So how have the meetups been? Meetups have been great. And I'm convinced with certainty that TV has helped solidify and give these people confidence that these guys are the real deal. I've heard that phrase a lot. Like, you guys are the real deal. Just a call out of nowhere. Because they saw the commercial, they will say the phrase, "You guys are the real deal." Like, okay, I could be doing 2 deals a month or doing 10 deals a month like we are now. Just because they see you on the commercial, they're going to tell you you're the real deal.
I know. You're crushing it. Like,
Yeah.
I think when I first got on TV, people were like, man, you must be, knocking it out of the park. I mean, I was doing okay, but it's like the perception that people have when you're on TV is just, it's crazy. Like, you may or may not get this because when you go to your market, but when I go to my market of Wichita, Kansas, where I'm running TV commercials, people always recognize me and they'll just start conversations as if they know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tony Javier. And then there's this guy that worked at Whole Foods, and every time I go to Whole Foods, he'd announce, Tony Javier. I just kind of put my head down, it's just kind of funny. Have you seen
it, dude? You got to get selfies.
Yeah.
Got to get selfies next
Charge for autographs.
There you go.
Absolutely. Good stuff, man. Anything else you want to leave with our listeners with? You're doing some amazing things, and I know you're giving a lot of value to people and just dialing it in, man. So congrats on the success.
We're in a good groove right now. And again, I feel we've been talking about this internally with our team. I feel like we're just barely still scratching the surface. So I feel like there's a lot of room for more growth. And if you guys are on the fence about TV or have any questions, feel free to reach out. But I think it's a no-brainer. Again, whether you're getting started or you're looking to expand or grow or solidify your brand, I think it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, realestatemasterstv.com if you want to check out TV. And then Dean has a YouTube channel. You want to tell people where to reach you?
Don't have anything special other than just go to YouTube and type in Dean Rogers. You'll see my face right there. Please subscribe. Check us out. We're going to have a lot of great content coming out. So look forward to interacting with you there.
And I'll be on there soon too. So check it out.
Yes, you will.
All right. Thanks, Dean. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening. Now go to www.remcommunity.com to connect with today's guest, see our high-level masterminds, and to get free resources. Don't forget to share this with a friend and leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you on the next episode.